Hello and welcome to week 4. Instead of starting with a PowerPoint this week, you are going to have some documents to read instead. So this week is all about diversity and inclusion. It is based on chapters 2 and 3 of your textbook, which are available here, the PowerPoints from the publisher, and I do expect you to read over chapters 2 and 3 before you start this assignment or this content. All right, the first things I would like you to look at after you've read chapter 2 and 3 is the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada Diversity and Inclusion Blueprint for 2021, and that is located here. So this is the document. Honestly, this thing used to be 14 pages long and now it's 57. So it's a little meatier than I was expecting or that I expect you to deal with. So we're just going to kind of scroll past the first stuff. You can look at their 5 values of diversity and inclusion. That's a good thing to review. The note from the president, Dave McKay, is another thing to look at. It's a nice one to read over, so if you have time, you can add that to your reading. But what I'm really after, I'm just scrolling here, is the page 10 to 14. Okay, so they're strategic and priorities. As it says there, over the last 2 years, they've reimagined their diversity and inclusion strategy. And I think that is what's caused this document to get so much larger. But I do want you to look at how this very large, very Canadian company deals with inclusion, diversity, and just making their business stronger and better through advancing diversity. So as you see, the pages aren't hugely long. There's not a lot of writing. There's some data and statistics that they provide there. And I just want you to go through those 5 pages. Okay, so pages 10 to 14. When you get to this page, we're good. It gets very involved and very specific, and I don't need you to have that much information. So once you've read that one, then come back and also read this excerpt from an article in the BDC, which is the, what is it called? Just a second, I wrote it somewhere. Business Development Bank of Canada. They're a very official bunch too. Apparently I like banks. But they are also very focused on diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So read those 2 big pieces of information over, as well as chapters 2 and 3. And once you've done all of that, and it will take you probably a couple of hours, jump in and have a look at the assignment. So what we're doing this week. You will consider the impact Canada's multicultural population has on our business world. And Canada is a very diverse country. Our larger cities especially. Barrie is becoming more diverse as the years go on, but Toronto has been that way for decades and just continues to grow and expand in those ways. And we need to be aware of the impact that diversity and inclusion have on you guys as students, you guys as future employees, and business as a whole. So step 1, you have already done. You read it all. A lot to read, but a lot of good information there. So your assignment for this week is to compose a Word document or a PDF. There is no big format for this. Doesn't need to be a memo or anything. But I do want you to answer these 3 main questions. Now, for the first or second question, you need to include one quote or paraphrase from one of these sources, either the textbook, the Royal Bank document, or the BDC document. I want you to quote from it or paraphrase some information from it and source it accordingly with an in-text citation. Now, because I have supplied you with the articles, I don't require you to do a reference page this week, but I do want in-text citation so that I know which of the 3 articles you used, or like which of the 3 sources, rather, textbook or the 2 written articles that you used for your information. So please include that. So first question. Based on the readings, describe one initiative Canadian companies could develop to promote diversity in the workplace. So what was described to you that you think, that really jumped out at you, that made you think, yeah, that's a great plan and that would really make a difference for companies moving forward. So just grab one of those ideas, quote, paraphrase, bring it to me in the Canadian context. Second question, name an unconscious bias or an example of a lack of cultural understanding or awareness that you have experienced. most people have, honestly. In Canada, we have very diverse people. We have very diverse bosses and employees, but not everyone is always culturally sensitive. I hope that that will change in the decades to come, as your generation, who will have been raised more thinking about these things, become those who are in charge. If no examples come to mind for you, you can have a look at the textbook, pages 72 to 74, for possible ideas. Once you have come up with that example, you've described it fully, that should take you, 3, 4, 5 sentences. Then answer the question, how can a company train workers to overcome the problem that you describe? So don't just describe the problem, although that is important. Also describe what you consider to be a good solution that companies could get. Last piece is the easiest piece. Go to canadastop100.com. And I'm just going to read this before we do that. Choose a company, and there's a long list, and I'm going to use an example and show you. And then select 2 of the reasons that they were chosen as one of Canada's best diversity employers for 2021, I believe it was. Make sure that you choose the diversity points, because they are awarding a lot of different things through this website, so make sure that you are on the diversity section when you do it. If you don't do it properly, you won't get marks for it. Then, as you answer this question, name the company and then literally cut and paste the 2 bullet points. You don't need to do anything else with them. So let's pop over to that website. And here it is, Canada's Best Diversity Employees 2022. So we scroll down, you can read about them if you want, but this long list is what we're going to look at. And just as an example, I'm going to grab Loblaws. Loblaw Companies Limited, most people are aware of them. Grocery stores, Zehrs, Provigo, Great Canadian Superstore, Loblaws itself. So they were awarded as one of Canada's top employers. Now, they did it for a few different reasons. So we're just going to look. There's their ratings. Now, they were a top employer for young people, and that's lovely, but that's not what we're after. Okay, so scroll past that. They were awarded as well for best diversity, and this is what we're after. And as you see, they had 3 different points. Read them over and grab the best 2. Okay, so literally just highlight and cut and paste, and that is answer C. Okay. Now, what are we going to do with answer C? All of this is being posted into the Blackboard. Your answers for A, B, and C are going to be put onto a Word or PDF document and uploaded to the discussion board. Then your peer is going to go into the discussion board and answer some questions about the answer C that you have given. All right, so for that response, you are to comment on the bullet points that were provided by your peer. Explain how the 2 points that they chose enhance diversity in the company, and then I want you to go further and critically think about how you can relate an idea for how what they did could impact the company's ability to communicate more effectively in Canadian business. So not only the fact that you thought it was a good point and how it was a good point, how will it impact the future? How will it impact their communication with their employees, with their clients, customers, whatever it might be? All right, so it's a bit of work, but you'll get through it. Please complete the assignment itself. So post A, B, and C in the discussion board by noon on Friday. Okay, this will keep us on track to have enough time for your peer and you to respond to each other by noon on Monday. Okay, so you have the whole weekend to respond to a peer. Some people are going to post ahead of Friday, so if you've got a busy weekend, pop in earlier in the week and get the feedback in prior to Monday for sure. Marking scheme. All right, answer A is for 2 marks. Answer B is for 4. C is for 3. Your peer response is for another 4. Including that quote or paraphrase is worth marks as well, so don't skip that bit. And also make sure your writing is accurate. Okay, one last thing. I'm just going to go back over here and skip into the discussion board where you will see the details. Okay, so here's where you're going to post. And if you can't remember what you need to say about your peers' bullet points, that is right here as well. Okay, if you have any questions, join me Tuesday at 2 on the WebEx or send me an email from your Georgian College student email anytime and I will get back to you quickly. Thanks so much and have a great week.